Hi everybody, my name is Sarah Teague. I just wanted to apologize a little bit in advance. My voice is a little raw. I've been a little sick recently, but nevertheless, um, I'm here to talk to you today about my Module 1 paper. I did that on uncertainty reduction theory and how it connects to human communication, and I want to talk a little bit about what I learned. So uncertainty reduction theory was created in large part by Charles Berger. It talks about how people gather social information and use that information to form impressions, and use that information to reduce like the uncomfortableness that comes from meeting somebody new, because obviously first impressions and first meetings are really awkward for a lot of people. And this theory helps us explain how and why people try and make those moments more predictable. My apologies. So one of the most important things I thought about the theory was that, and that I learned, was that there is no one specific way you're gonna react to a situation. It's all based on like the context or the setting, because it's like if you meet a new classmate and it's in the hallway and you're just talking, you're gonna feel a lot more comfortable usually, rather than if you meet a new classmate in a very formal business setting where you're expected to behave a different way. And so these different situations create different levels of uncertainty and change the way our brains try and manage that uncertainty. And then another important point that I thought was really interesting was that both verbal and nonverbal communication help reduce that uncertainty. So like the words that are coming out of our mouth obviously matter. They are the first thing people think about, but also things you can do like eye contact, body language, and like the tone of voice that you use, all help people form impressions and either make you feel more or less comfortable with the person that you're talking to and the new person, because you need to gather a lot of information very quickly to help your brain ease itself. And then also the theory talks about and highlights the importance of like using this information ethically. So like we might want to know more about someone, but we need to make sure that we gather that information in an ethical way, because it is really important to use that communication competence to build trust and strong connections. And finding out that information in an unethical way can actually cause the other person feel uneasiness about you. Like stalking somebody is obviously not an ethical way to get information. And then the reason I thought this theory was really worth exploring and digging into, and reason why I think you should think it's important, is because it applies to literally your everyday life. Because if you're making new friends, you're talking to new people, you're starting a new club, you're going to a new school, you're starting a new job, you're always going to be navigating that uncertainty. You're always going to be trying to deal with that unease, and understanding the way you deal with that unease can also make you help other people feel more comfortable around you, help you make yourself feel more comfortable quicker, get that information quicker. And then my two major key takeaways from learning this information and writing this paper were that I thought it was mostly interesting that people are more motivated to reduce that uncertainty if they think the relationship is more valuable to them. And then conversely, they also sometimes avoid reducing that uncertainty because they want to protect their comfort zone. So those two like almost conflicting ideas really brought some intrigue into me. And then I also thought it was interesting that like reducing uncertainty isn't just about like gathering information. It also requires some ethical communication, because I hadn't really thought about that aspect before. Um, Thank you for watching. I appreciate you sticking with me. I hope this encouraged you to learn more about this topic, uncertainty reduction theory, because I found it really, really interesting to dig into. Um, and I think it really has like got me analyzing over the past week of like since writing that paper of how I'm meeting people now and how it has changed like what I'm thinking about when I'm meeting new people. Okay, bye. Thank you.